everyone, my name is Holden Hardman. Thank you so much for joining me again for another video. I've had such a fun time going through WandaVision with Jeremy. It's something that we haven't ever really done before. We couldn't finish watching it with Matt at the time just because like anytime we want to do anything like that, it always comes down to scheduling. So we weren't able to do it with Matt. So Jeremy and I were like, we want to keep watching it. So we'll just watch it kind of independently of each other, and we'll talk about it after. And so this is something new that Jeremy and I were doing, and I've really enjoyed doing it with him. I've had a lot of fun with our post discussions. The last episode left us off on such a really cool cliffhanger with that white vision, and I'm so excited to see the season finale. It's a limited series, so I guess the series finale. I'm so looking forward to it. It is bright and early this morning. I've showered, I have my coffee. I'm ready to watch WandaVision and finish this off.
The Scarlet Witch.
They said her name.
All right, baby, here we go. WandaVision finale.
Jeez. Gosh.
Very,
yeah, like Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Oh, here we go.
Oh, so trippy.
So is it really you?
What?
Wanda.
No.
Oh! Holy crap. Oh! Monica. Oh, no.
This is so crazy.
I know why you made this world, but this...
I can fix it. This is our home.
Then let's fight for it.
Yeah.
I'm all about this. Let's do it. I want some Dragon Ball Z fights. Let's go.
Babe?
Babe.
We can hear you from in here.
Oh, Monica. Yes. Goku and Vegeta, let's go.
We resolve this peacefully.
Nice.
It looks great. Holy crap. Superhero landing.
If only you had a little more vision.
Ah.
The Scarlet Witch is not born, she is forged. Your power exceeds that of the Sorcerer Supreme.
What?
The world.
So she's more powerful than Doctor Strange.
If I could just hold her.
Oh, the kids
please.
Can't leave their rooms.
What are you doing?
We're like 10 minutes in and this is already so freaking great. I feel like they'd be afraid of her, actually.
You fan of Steven Seagal?
Ralph?
Is he Ralph?
Ralph Boner?
Boner.
Oh God, please, spare my life.
Yes, I want to see some of this.
When you let us sleep, we have your nightmares.
Oh.
Your grief is poisoning us.
No, stop.
Damn.
She's literally choking them all. Uh-oh. Super Saiyan God.
Oh, Wizard of Oz was playing on the marquee.
Is Vision gonna get weaker without that thing? Yeah, he needs it.
Dude, so good.
Oof.
Ow.
Now do you see? Now one can't exist without the other.
Force field.
She is so powerful.
Dad?
The Incredibles.
Yeah.
My programming directive is to destroy the Vision, but I'm
Uh-oh.
not the true Vision.
This man about shot these two children.
Oh my God. Hayward, you let me down, bro.
Nice. It's a good thing he was able to do that, Monica, though.
Dude, Hayward was just gonna murder them all in cold blood.
You are familiar with the thought experiment, the ship of Theseus in the
course.
field of identity metaphysics.
Of course.
Over time, its planks of wood rot and are replaced with new planks. When no original plank remains, is it still the ship of Theseus? And reassembled free of the rot, is that the ship of Theseus? Neither is the true ship. Both are the true ship. Well, then we are agreed. I have not retained memories, but you do have the data.
Oh, nice.
Oh, man.
Oh, whoa. Oh, so creepy. Nope, not going according to plan.
Or the Scarlet Witch.
You can't win, Wanda.
Nice.
Uh-oh.
Wanda, what are you doing?
It looks so cool.
There's more. I want it all.
She's just taking her power. Why is she giving it to her? Ugh. Why? Oh, no. Now she looks like one of the Olsen twins.
Oh, nice. Those symbols that only her powers work in.
Her powers are no good within those.
What a moment in comic book history. Wow.
She's got her costume back. The original freaking costume.
Wow.
You don't know.
Chills, dude. Holy cow, look at her.
Yep. Wanda has a habit of just like dropping people like 1 foot above the ground.
She looks incredible, dude. Holy cow.
Just gonna lock me up somewhere?
No, not somewhere. Here.
In hell. Oh, here, yeah.
Wait. Hiya, hun.
Yeah. Look at this. Look at this comic book. Right out of a page.
A family is forever.
Good night, chaps.
Chaps.
Thanks for choosing me to be your mom.
I just wanted to see you clearly. And there you are. What am I?
Are the piece of the Mind Stone that lives in me. You are my sadness. And my hope. But mostly you're my love.
Oh.
A memory. Made real.
We'll say hello again.
Oh.
So long, darling.
And there she is.
Put that hood up.
The best love story in the MCU is between a robot and a witch. Just make note of that.
God, I hate her.
They'll never know what you sacrificed for them.
It wouldn't change how they see me.
Yeah, probably not.
Goodbye, Monica.
You better run from the police
Bye, Wanda.
before they stop you.
Dude, that was amazing. Holy
Can't wait
cow.
to see if there's post credits.
Did not expect the end to hit like that.
We can thank her for that.
They're asking for you in the theater.
Put the fun in dysfunction.
I was sent by an old friend of your mother's. He heard you've been grounded. He'd like to meet with you.
Where?
We're definitely building towards Secret Invasion with all of the Skrull stuff that keeps happening throughout the series.
I feel like I've seen this in some other movies before, like this exact location.
New Zealand. I was like, where was the New Zealand shots? Doctor Strange.
Oh, wow. Just like Doctor Strange.
Yup. The Scarlet Witch, main villain in Multiverse of Madness. Go back, roll the tape, called it since day one. Boom, let's go.
What an episode. I wrote down several bullet points that I wanted to talk about because there's so many. I don't want to drag this video on forever. Try and go through them just as we can. But just overview overall, I loved it. What did you think about it?
I don't appreciate you coming all prepared, Holden. This is a new thing. What is this about? It was fantastic. General takeaway from this entire series, and we'll probably talk a little bit specifically about the episode, but it's juggling so many different things from the science fiction, the fantasy, these horror elements. It's all of these different things that initially they're gonna seem a little disparate to somebody like me. It's a whole lot of fantastical stuff going on, but because of the emotional core, because of the performances from Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany in particular, it kept it grounded. It kept me emotionally invested in it, and the best thing that I can say about it is I'm always kind of waiting for there just to be that final straw that breaks the camel's back, but it still hasn't happened yet. And I don't have a problem with witches in the MCU. I just kind of thought it was funny, but now they did it really well.
Yeah, going back to when we had our discussion in the last video, a lot of people pointed out that Hayward lied about Vision's body being stolen. I don't know if we ever explicitly said that, or if we thought there might still be something afoot. I kind of am where your line of thinking was. What they're showing us is not the case, you know? So I was still like, I don't know, he could have been lying about it. It could be something else, like an alternate reality, but it seems as of right now that he just lied and just showed select bits of footage of her stealing Vision's body, which she did not end up doing.
You know, on the first viewing, I completely read that scene wrong. Like, I went back and rewatched it after reading some comments, and I was like, I don't know what show I was watching this morning. I think I just wanted Hayward to be more than just the bad government guy, but no, alas, it didn't play out that way.
Honestly, from like the writer's standpoint, they had us right where they wanted us. You know, they give us a little bit of information, have us questioning, so that's great. The ship of Theses, is that how you say it? That they talk about between the two visions to argue like the thought experiment of, is the Vision in that world the real Vision, or is the white Vision the real Vision? And that whole conversation they had, I just loved it. I loved that whole topic of really making you think, that thought experiment, Schrodinger's cat type of stuff. You know, they're both the real Vision.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Holden. That is probably the single standout scene from the series. Don't get me wrong, watching the fighting and them beating each other up and flying around it looked amazing. It was super good, and to watch them pummel each other was very satisfying. But it was the way that they chose to resolve that conflict that I think really speaks volumes to how good the writing is for these shows and for these movies. So yeah, that was definitely a standout to me as well.
Yeah, my next bullet point was actually the battle between the Visions. I loved it. You know me, I love that Matrix 2 fights, Dragon Ball Z fights, you know, in live action, or it's, you know, as close to live action as we can get. I loved all that. I actually wanted more of that. I realized it's like a TV show and they could only do so much, but the parts that we did see of them just fighting, I loved that. So there was that moment where, I'll just call him the good Vision, where the good Vision touches white Vision, and you see the symbol change and his eyes change, but they didn't really, like, I didn't see any follow-up from that, I guess, or at least I don't remember, in regards to what did that actually do to him? Did that return his memories? Because Good Vision said that he still had the data, and then in that moment, I didn't know if Good Vision was like putting his new memories into that other Vision's body, and that white Vision will revert back to the regular Vision. So it's really, really complicated. So I didn't know what you thought about that part.
Yeah, I kind of read it the same way. I feel that what he did was transfer his memories, which in turn means he transferred his humanity onto the white version of Vision. I anticipate we're going to continue to see Vision moving forward in the MCU. I mean, he disappeared at the end of the episode, so I do feel that White Vision is going to make a return. I was actually surprised that when he transferred the memories and when he kind of transferred his essence into the other Vision, that he didn't just kind of fall apart at that point. But I really liked the fact that he didn't, because it gave us that just incredibly emotional payoff at the end. I did feel that Wanda's suit looked very reminiscent of Magneto's suit in X-Men Apocalypse. Little bit of lore crossover there. Again, could just be a design nod, could end up playing a bigger factor, but I definitely noticed the detailing and the color scheme being very similar.
Here's something, I don't know how you felt about it, because they teased that little bit with Monica Rambeau and Quicksilver very briefly 2 episodes ago. I felt like all the setup, I guess, with Monica just sort of fell at the end. I guess I was expecting her to have been involved more in the finale, and I know that they're still setting her up for more stuff in the future, but I didn't know. I was kind of like, oh, I guess they just dealt with the Maximoff family and her and all that. But I was actually kind of surprised that they just sort of dropped the Monica and Quicksilver part it felt like almost entirely. I know that there's, you know, in other series they might still come back and will have significance, but that just surprised me, I guess.
No, I think that's completely valid. If there was one character that ended up being a little bit underserved, and again, you just acknowledged it, we understand that moving forward, there's going to be a lot of growth for this character considering the mid-credit scene, but for this particular story, it did feel that Monica and then Pietro were just kind of, they didn't exactly know what to do with them at the end, and the reveal that that Evan Peters was playing Ralph, which is Agatha's fictional husband. I thought it was great because in the Malcolm in the Middle episode, there's a scene where they're trick-or-treating and that woman gives them 2 herrings, which, I mean, let's face it, the whole Quicksilver thing was a huge red herring, so I thought that worked out perfectly, and really just speaks to the fact that they're, like you said, they had us in the palm of their hands. They're leading breadcrumbs off in this direction when the story's going this way, and I thought that was really smart. That said, I do feel that there are going to be the fans who were theorizing the most about Doctor Strange showing up, or Reed Richards showing up, or Mephisto, or Nightmare, like all these great fan theories, but the fact that it didn't play out the way that people's headcanon wanted it to, I wouldn't be surprised to find out people are let down by the fact that, you know, Luke Skywalker didn't show up at the end or something, you know?
Right. I think that's valid, pretty valid too. There were so many people wondering about Mephisto, the fly on the wall in the previous episodes. I was wondering if Hayward might have been more involved in that regard. I won't say that I'm let down with the Quicksilver thing. It served its purpose as the red herring, but it just creates further questions of how are they going to introduce mutants into the MCU, because that was Fox's Quicksilver, but he's not Quicksilver, like officially now, right? He's Ralph Boner or whatever his name. I thought that would have been a perfect way that they could have introduced them, and then they retcon that. So we'll see. Talking more about like the Wanda's character development and this whole series being Wanda's processing of grief, and then I thought that time at the end where, you know, the walls are literally coming in and she's like saying goodbye to her children and putting them to sleep, and then saying goodbye to Vision and like literally letting him go so that she can move forward. I thought that the visual representation of that internal conflict and resolution, I thought was magnifique. I thought it was wonderful.
I cry like a baby at the end of the reaction. I mean, you know, I'm just like, oh. It was so good. It was so good. And to the point about the X-Men, I'm totally all right with it. As I said, they got a lot of plate spinning as it is. What I found fascinating about Wanda's character development is I feel like you and I were kind of on ideological different sides of the fence when this started in regards to how much should Wanda be held accountable for versus how much is essentially out of her control. How much is this grief having an actual effect on her ability to reason and things like that? And I ended up coming much closer to the middle as far as that goes, because they just did such a good job of selling it. And Elizabeth Olsen's performance is just, she created empathy. By the end of it, I could understand her plight, and I think they did a very good job of that.
Well, Monica talks to Wanda and she's like, they'll never know how much you sacrificed for them. I'm still like, okay, but it's because of her that I was separated from my children. I mean, that one woman was like, can you just let me see and hold my child for a second? And if Wanda wasn't involved at all, that never would have happened. So I'm like, I don't think that there was still probably enough accountability. If I was in that town and experienced that, I wouldn't have cared so much about, oh, she let go of her children and finally got over her boyfriend or whatever. You still made my life hell and separated me from my family, and I was terrified for months, you know, or a month or 2 months or however long.
So you came to the middle too, man. I love it.
I guess so, yeah. There's still like, she didn't mean to do it type of thing, but how do you punish, you know, God tier characters? Like, how do you hold them accountable? But I don't think it's a happy ending, I guess, as far as in terms for those other people. I mean, they just were basically used and then discarded, and I put everything back to normal. We're all good, right? I'm out.
Yeah. So sorry about the time that I took from you.
Right. So I guess I kind of am in that middle too. Agatha, sorry. She says one line that I was like, oh, she said, the Scarlet Witch will be more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. So she basically outright said that Scarlet Witch is more powerful than Doctor Strange, you know. So I thought that was interesting, and a nod to the Multiverse of Madness that's coming out.
We've all theorized. Some of it we've gotten right. Some of it has completely been wrong,
Yes,
as you know, you guys can go and watch and play back. However, ever since the beginning, I have been steadfast in the idea that the best version of the Multiverse of Madness has him going one-on-one against Scarlet Witch, and I feel that this is establishing those stakes, as you said, about God tier. It's like, now we know that Wanda is a little bit more powerful than Doctor Strange, so who better of you know, antagonist in the next movie? And how did you interpret that, man? So there are two different ways that I feel it could have went, and we're talking about the actual post-credit, not the mid-credit scene, when we go to New Zealand, and I'm like, oh, look, we're about to hit the Shire, and Wanda's in that cabin. She's sitting in front of the cabin. We go inside, and I'm like, maybe it's Doctor Strange. But then we see Wanda as the Scarlet Witch going through the Darkhold. How did you interpret that?
So Agatha pointed out, you know, she's got all this power, but she has none of the knowledge, none of the discipline. And it was actually Wanda learning that runes, I guess, spell or technique that allowed her to win. I always would wonder the battle between like Doctor Strange versus somebody like Wanda, and that Doctor Strange is powerful and he's knowledgeable, whereas Wanda is like raw power, you know, without the refining. It's kind of that Obi-Wan is a less powerful Jedi, but he's more disciplined, and Anakin is the more powerful Jedi, but it was, you know, his mistakes and his cockiness that he was not able to beat Obi-Wan on Mustafar. We're getting into something else. Wanda is studying now. And so if you can combine that raw, untamed power with the knowledge and the discipline, it would be hard for me to think that Doctor Strange would be able to beat her.
So was she projecting herself into the front yard of that place in fear that maybe there was surveillance from Sword somewhere they were watching her? Or did she literally split similar to Vision did? And part of her is this, the grief, the rage, the person who, because we've seen what loss can do to people, and we heard it's Billy and Tommy at the very end of the show whose voices she hears. So I was wondering, like, has Wanda essentially split into two different entities, Wanda and the Scarlet Witch, or do you think it's the projection side of it?
That's a good point. Now that you raise it, the way that I took it was, she was seemingly so powerful. Herself in the cabin was her real self, and the Scarlet Witch version was the astral projection. I could have that backwards, or it could be a mixture of both. But either way, there's two Wandas consciously doing independent things of each other, but are still connected at that little cabin. But I love it. I love WandaVision. This was a great. It far exceeded what I thought it was going to be. We talked about that briefly early on, where we thought it was going to be a fun, you know, there'd be some good moments, maybe new characters that we hadn't seen, but like you said, this stuff matters, and it's so significant, and it was so well done. Blew my mind, and it makes me anticipate Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the What If stuff and the Loki series, and my expectations for those have risen now as a result of WandaVision.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like as a whole, it was one of the most compelling movies that Marvel has made. It was able to just really spend time with this relationship. Who would have thought that the most poignant relationship in the entire MCU is between a robot and a witch? And they nailed it.
Our last minute questions are: what happened to White Vision? What's going on with the Tommy and Billy and her head at the end? Monica Rambeau, what's going to happen with her? Because they definitely are setting her up for something, even though it wasn't concluded in this. The X-Men, everything we thought about the X-Men coming into the MCU has pretty much been wiped, in my opinion, because of the reveal of him being Ralph, this totally separate character.
When Falcon and Winter Soldier comes out, maybe we can talk about doing it again, because the theorizing and the water cooler conversation is definitely one of my favorite parts about these kind of shows.
Yeah, I love it, man. Well, thank you so much for joining. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you check out Jeremy's channel. I'll have a link in the description below. He's got a lot of really great stuff on there. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Comment down below letting us know what you thought of the WandaVision series finale and what you thought of this episode and our thoughts on it. Subscribe if you want to see more fun content like this. Consider joining my Patreon to get early access to select videos. As always, we appreciate you watching. We'll catch you in the next Disney Plus series or show or movie. Take care, guys. We appreciate it.